This is Sister Sharpen Sister, three sisters who get together each week and talk about first one thing and then another.
We'll try again.
Quiet on set.
Okay.
It's pretty funny.
Okay. Work this time.
Please.
Like that. It worked.
Phew. Oh.
That was probably on my end. I mean, this is brand new thing to me, so
Yeah. No, you said you got a new laptop and stuff, so I figured that's what was going on with it. It's just a matter of getting things set up right.
right. So now I need to figure out how to do the view. There we go. Now, especially since I'm recording. All right. Welcome to Sister Sharpen Sister. As you can see, I'm in a different location. So is she. We are at our mother's home, and I am in Florida. We are in front of a semi-live audience, and I say that because the kids are on the computer.
In the other room.
In the other room. So.
And Mother's reading a book on the couch.
Yes. And Flynn's running around. So if you hear anything in the background, that's what it's going to be. Today we are talking about something a little bit different. This is a topic that we've never discussed before, and we are going to talk about the Iceman. Like not the Marvel
Not
character.
X-Men.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to be talking about, his name is Ötzi. And it's actually spelled
Ötzi.
with an O, but it's a German pronunciation. It's the O with the two dots over the top of it. And it's pronounced Ötzi.
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 Okay, yeah.
Ötzi.
It's German.
Only it's a real strong Ötzi. I don't speak German, so because I had to go online to look up how to pronounce the Alps that he was named after.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's not Ötzi. So yeah. I had to learn that myself.
It's very guttural from the throat.
Mm-hmm.
So Dee Dee has done most of the research on this one, and she's going to take it from here.
Right. Well, I thought, first of all, I might start off with a little bit about what the ancient humans ate. Because, I mean, Ötzi was, after all, an ancient human. Because he was about 5,300 years old when he was found.
Yeah, he was found in 1993.
91, I think, Sissy.
It may be
find him
91. I've got a couple of those dates running through my head, and I'm not sure which one goes where.
I remember this when I was a kid.
Oh, you remember it being found?
I remember it being found and it being a big deal, yeah. Or him being found, sorry.
Him, yes.
It.
Yes.
91, September 19, 1991.
Yeah, okay.
Well, since we're looking at the ancient humans, because he is an ancient human, I thought it might be a good idea to look up a little bit of history about what ancient humans might have eaten.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, we need to understand that we all started as hunter-gatherers. And as that, we ate what the land provided when it provided it. And I know that we have a lot of people now talking about the paleo diets and saying, oh, our hunter-gatherer ancestors, all they ate was meat. That is not true. They ate what the land provided.
Right.
There may have been times during seasons when all they had was meat. So, yes, they did eat a lot of meat then. But there were times when there was fruits, and they ate the fruits. They ate tubers. They ate honey. They ate all kinds of stuff that was naturally produced on the land.
It is raining on and off here, so you may hear thunder.
Okay, it was raining here earlier, but we didn't have any thunder, so hopefully that will stay away. But I did find some interesting stuff. For example, grapes and watermelon were found throughout pre-dynastic Egyptian sites. So grapes and watermelon were pre-dynastic Egypt. They also had nuts and figs. I'm sorry.
I know they had grapes because they had wine back in Jesus' day. So,
And if I'm not mistaken, there was a 4,000-year-old olive tree in Greece.
yes.
What?
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
Can you
Carob. And I asked you all if y'all knew what it was, if y'all heard of it before, but it's a tree that's native to the Mediterranean region. There's a fruit that grows on it, and they eat the fruit. But the thing is that it's also used medicinally. But what they do is the fruit are like these pods, like these broad pods, and they take out what's in it. They roast it up and they grind it into a powder. And sometimes it's sold as a powder. Sometimes they make them into chocolate-like chips. Okay, because this is healthy stuff. Okay, this has got fiber and all kinds of stuff in it that's really good for us. And it says that that it is less bitter than chocolate and has a roasted, naturally sweet flavor.
Wow.
Yeah. And I went on my online shopping app and you can buy it.
Really?
Where were you looking?
Walmart.
Got it.
It was on the Walmart app. And I also found that researchers also dug up grapes that appear to be 7 million years old in northeastern Tennessee.
7 million. Holy cow.
Yes.
How do grapes not disintegrate? How do grapes last in the ground for that long?
Well, I'm not sure exactly where they found them. And because of the techniques they have now, they have ways to microscopically study even the like the clay pots that were first used when people first started cooking foods. They can now microscopically study any materials that absorbed into that pottery, and they can tell you
Right.
what they could. So they may have done something like that. I didn't look up that information.
Okay.
I just got the information from slate.com.
So it may not have actually been grapes themselves.
Right, exactly.
Oh,
Yes.
great.
Oh, these were grapes.
It's not like the honey that doesn't expire, right?
Right. Now, okay, they did say that what they found were most like that would not have been like the grapes we eat today, because they've changed over the years.
Yeah, well, nothing is like what it used to be
No.
because of World War II and the dropping of the atomic bombs
Conventional.
changed a lot of things.
Yeah.
And there's GMO everything. So,
And Kazakhstan, 30,000 years ago, had a lot of apple trees on it.
apple trees?
Yep. And China had oranges, but not the kind of oranges we eat now.
Hmm.
And I have to share something with you about Neanderthals. You don't pronounce the TH.
No, I pronounce the TH.
Well, so pronounce it however you want, but there you go. But anyway, they, being scientists and archaeologists and all those people, have been able to study the dental calculus, which is tartar, from the Neanderthals. They've been able to study that. And some that they found in Belgium, that these particular ones were meat lovers. And they found DNA of a woolly rhinoceros and wild sheep.
Wow.
Further south, a warmer climate, in Spain, they found evidence of a large plant-based diet, mainly mushrooms, pine nuts, moss, and even tree bark. And I'm going to talk to you about that tree bark.
When you were talking about diets being relative to where man would have been,
yeah.
My thought was if you're in a warmer climate, you have more choices throughout the year
for a longer period of time.
Right. Than somebody that lives in Alaska.
Yes.
Right. I mean, our heritage would have been a lot of meat.
A lot of meat, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, we didn't come from Spain, so we're not going to be eating what the Spaniards would eat, or back then Spaniards ate.
A woolly rhinoceros. I got stuck on that for a second. I didn't know there was such a thing.
Okay, so they had, and plant bark. I said plant bark, and or tree bark, sorry. And I'm gonna talk to you specifically about that tree bark in just a minute, okay? Because that's
Okay.
very interesting. And you're not gonna realize and really know how interesting that is. Um, they also found varieties of other plant micro remains in their teeth. And it goes to show that they were not solely meat eaters. Now, these Spanish Neanderthals give us a glimpse into their health since like 49,000 years ago. One of them suffered a dental abscess. And you get
Mm,
that evidence like in their bones, because if you have an abscess that's there for a while, it'll scar.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they know this. Okay.
Makes my mouth hurt.
Now, this individual's dental calculus, this individual's tartar, had DNA from, oh, this is the part, okay, had DNA from a gastroparasite. So
From
they
the
suffered
what?
from a gastroparasite.
Oh, wow. He had worms.
Yeah, yeah. And the same sample, scientists detected the DNA of poplar bark. Poplar bark contains salicylic acid, which is the basic ingredient for aspirin.
Yeah, it's pain.
Yes, and get this. There were also traces of penicillium mold.
How cool.
Yes,
Wow.
which comes from eating moldy plants, and that made these scientists speculate that most likely what this individual was doing was treating his abscess with painkillers and antibiotics.
That's amazing.
And everybody thinks that they were all dumb and ignorant, and they were not.
They were not. No,
No.
They were not.
that is awesome.
I know. I read that and I'm like, I don't believe that. I mean, I didn't think they were dumb, but they knew about penicillin tens of thousands of years ago.
Yeah, before we did.
Hmm. Um, and just a little side note here: modern humans have Neanderthal DNA. 0 to close to 0% of people from African populations. That's what they have, 0 or close to 0. People from European and Asian populations could possibly have 1 to 2% of the Neanderthal DNA.
All right.
So I just found that very interesting to study and learn it, especially that part about these
The aspirin and the
people that we,
penicillin.
yeah, these people that we thought were dumb, ignorant apes were treating themselves medicinally with aspirin and penicillin.
Yeah.
So that was very interesting. Um, Now on to Ötzi the Iceman. So when I did my research on him, I basically asked a few questions like, what is he, who is he, that type of thing. He's an ancient, accidentally mummified human body. Oh, his remains are approximately 5,324 years old. Mm-hmm. He lived in what is now known as the Copper Age, which is the transition period between the Neolithic or the New Stone Age and the Late Bronze Age. And I got a little historical information about the Copper Age, but I'm not going to get into that. And just to give people a little bit of a reference, he's about 5,300 years old. Stonehenge is only about 5,000 years old.
Yeah.
Because this time period that he lived in is around the time that the Europeans started creating all of the stone monoliths and Stonehenge and all this stuff. Is around the same time they started creating all of that. He was found September 19, 1991 by a German tourist whose name was Helmut Simon. He was found on the Similon Glacier in the Tyre-Orleans Ötztal Alps. It's on the Italian-Austrian border. He was aged approximately between 25 and 35 years old at his death, but I did find another website that had him closer to the age of 40.
Yeah, I saw around 40 is what I saw.
Yeah, so that's, it's probably, I don't know, 30 to 40 years old, probably.
And if you're going by the amount of like arthritis and bone wear and tear and stuff like that he had, and coming up with that age, I don't think that you could compare modern humans to that and still be accurate.
No. It was from the website Live Science. They analyzed the microscopic structures in the bone to determine his age and his femur, and they say they're the ones that says he was in his 40s.
Yeah.
So probably
And
his 40s.
I think he was probably closer to 40.
Yeah, I do too. His height was about 5'2". His weight was approximately 110 pounds. It was initially thought that he froze to death, but they did X-rays in 2001 that showed an arrowhead in his left shoulder, making the scientists believe that he bled to death.
Yeah.
And what I find interesting is that he was found with belongings. His belongings were not stolen, so his death was not because somebody was trying to rob him. It was for some other reason.
Well, one of the things that I did read about him said that they actually believed because further up the mountain from where he was found was what appeared to be burial pyres. And they think that he may have actually been buried, and that as the ice has melted and frozen and melted and frozen, he has slid down the mountain.
Well, that kind of makes some sense. Yeah.
Interesting.
And they believe that's why there were belongings with him.
Okay. Well, it could have been. I don't know. I mean, I just know I didn't see that. I guess I was too interested in learning about Neanderthal tartar. So
Yeah, one of the things that I read about him as well said that there was evidence on the arrow shaft that it had been broken off. So,
okay.
and that he had arrows that they believe belonged to him that had DNA samples of two separate people on one arrowhead.
He may have been. His people may have been battling with another village or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, fighting is what I think because
Yeah.
their speculation is that he shot somebody with that arrow, retrieved it, and shot somebody else with that arrow.
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what I would do. Arrows were that hard to make. You just go to Walmart and buy them. I'd be retrieving it and reusing it.
Absolutely. I'd be retrieving ones that didn't belong to me as I was walking by them if I'm in a battle.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
He had an axe as well, didn't he?
He did. Hold on. Let me see. I put it down here somewhere. Yes. He had a small copper bladed axe with him that had a wooden handle. Had a flint dagger with him, which also had a wooden handle. He had 14 arrows made of viburnum and dogwood, two of which had flint points and feathers. He had a arrow quiver and a bow made of yew. He had a grass net that may have served as some type of sack. He had a leather pouch and he had a U-shaped wooden frame that they're guessing he used to carry stuff.
Huh.
At first, he was believed to be free of disease, but he was not.
Would they find
They
that
found
again?
Intestinal parasites. He had whipworm, arthritis, Lyme disease. They found Lyme disease in him. The bacterium that causes stomach ulcers and gastritis. He had extensive wear on his teeth and his joints too, hence the arthritis. And that he had an especially amount of wear on his shoulders, knees, and his spine.
Shoulders, knees, and spine.
Yes.
Shoulders from carrying stuff, knees from walking, and spine from walking. Just copper age life.
Yes. Yeah. Basically, the worn down teeth too, because they use stones to grind up a lot of stuff. So some of that stone is going to be in the bread you eat or whatever.
Right.
Wear down your teeth. Yeah. Plus, they probably lose their teeth for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
His lungs were coated in soot, indicating that he spent a lot of time around open fires. And he even had a sign of tooth decay, gum disease, and dental trauma.
Wow. Dental trauma, as in maybe he got hit in the mouth, that kind of broken teeth. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't say just a dental trauma, but to me, dental trauma is somebody hits you in the face with a rock and it breaks your teeth.
Right. Yeah. That's what I think of.
Yeah. None of those health issues contributed to his death. In the past, he had broken his nose and several ribs.
Ah, okay. Wonder if he fell. Actually, I don't know. You could get broken ribs and a broken nose and fight.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He was balding, and what scalp hair he did have showed signs of having been cut.
Really?
Huh.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
And he is possibly the earliest known person that we know of to have tattoos.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that.
Or, yes, they could also be scars from Neolithic therapeutic procedures because apparently several of the scars are in the areas around where he had the arthritis.
Ah, okay.
Oh.
So it possibly could be that, but they were still tattoos. They put incisions on him and they put charcoal in it and it
Oh, I
healed.
see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah,
And
right.
that's completely different.
Well, and I'm thinking that also may be one of the reasons why the scientists are thinking that it may have been some type of therapeutic stuff he was having that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they designs? Do you know if is it a design or is it
Well,
just lines?
he, he has 61 of them. They are short blue lines on his skin, so there's not really any true design. They're on his rib cage, lower back, wrists, ankles, knees, calves, lower spine, left leg, and right ankle.
Okay.
Um, Now, what he was wearing was an unlined fur robe stitched together with pieces of ibex, chamois, and deerskin. And ibex is a goat.
Yeah.
Chamois is a goat-like animal. They're all in the cow family. We talked about his axe and stuff that he had. Now, he did have a small amount of food with him when he was found. It was still with him.
Okay.
So, what he had was sloe berries, which is a few fruit from a juniper,
Okay.
mushrooms, and a few gnawed ibex bones.
Hmm. You use those bones for soup.
Yep.
Oh,
Well, you know what? And
Yeah.
back then they didn't waste anything, so he may have been going to use them to make something out of them, or he hadn't stopped eating them yet, and they still had marrow in them.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, he was well preserved to the point to where they could get his last meal from his stomach.
Okay. What was his last
So
meal?
his last meal included fat and meat from ibex and red deer, cereals from acorn wheat and bracken particles. Bracken is it's fern and it's poisonous.
Oh, really?
Yes. Now, why did he have that? They speculate that he either used the ferns to wrap his food in, and somehow the particles got in him from him eating them, or perhaps because it was poisonous and they knew it was poisonous, but yet people can eat it and it not kill them, even though it's poisonous. That they think that maybe he was taking it medicinally for his intestinal parasites.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So that's his last meal. Um, but yeah, so that's some pretty interesting information, and that's poor guy.
Yeah.
You want me to continue?
Well, now if we want
Okay.
to, we could go ahead and wrap up um Ozzy here and pick up in the next episode with the other bog people.
Well, Uchi's not a bog person,
What
but
how about preserved human?
there you go. Mummified people.
Yeah. Yeah, I wrote it down as Ötzi and the Bogmen, and I looked at Shalon and said, that sounds like a band. Oh, I farted. Excuse me. Rip. Now my butthole hurts.
Because I tried to find out how many bog bodies had been found, and it says, well, do you mean bodies that still have flesh attached, or are you counting the ones that are also just skeletons? So it's over 1,000. I think if you count all of them. We keep going. The most famous one known, and I'm sure anybody knows anything about bog bodies knows about this fella. He's called Tollund Man, Tollund. He was found in Denmark in 1950. He was found when some people were cutting peat bog, and they found him. And they say he was between 30 and 40 years old when he died. Radiocarbon dating has him dying between 405 and 380 BC, which makes his remains between about 2,400 years old to about 2,429 years old. He lived during the early Iron Age. He was about 5'3", and I couldn't find any information about how much he weighed while he was living. It's probably there. I just couldn't find it. He was found wearing a belt, a cap made of sheepskin, and a plaited leather thong wrapped around his neck.
Did she say thong?
He was either put in naked or the clothing he had on dissolved. Now, the leather thong is what caused his death, and they say he died of strangulation, not a combination of suffocation and broken neck. And if anybody's ever seen any pictures of him, you can see a beard stubble on his chin.
Mm-hmm.
His eyes and lips are closed. And I wrote this little thing here. I says, when you look at his face, he appears to be sleeping on his side. And he looks as if he'll wake up and maybe shave the stubble off his face. Many of his soft tissues were shrunken but preserved, including his brain, intestines, and stomach. He suffered from parasitic infections from three types of worms: tapeworm, woodworm, and mallworms. His wisdom teeth had grown in, which helps him determine his age. I couldn't find anything anywhere that said that he suffered from any other type of ailments like arthritis or anything like that. But it did find a little something that said probably only about 1 to 3% of the early Iron Age people suffered arthritis in their hips and knees and stuff like that. His last meal consisted of porridge with barley, flax, wild weed seeds, pale persicaria, Persicaria, and it can also be medicinal, and fish. Now, the people that pulled the contents from his stomach and tested it, they said it was so well preserved that they could have made a recipe from the porridge they examined.
Wow.
And you can visit Tollund Man at a museum in Denmark. It's Silkeborg Museum, or Museum Silkeborg in Silkeborg Municipality, Denmark. And I've got a couple of websites there that people find them if they want. I found a few more. Lindow Man, Lindow, Lindow. He was found in a peat bog close to Manchester, England. He was in his 20s when he died. He was of average height and well built. He was healthy, except for intestinal parasites. He died between 2 BC and 119 AD. So he's the youngest one that we're talking about today. He died a very violent death. He was killed 3 times, a triple death. Scholars believe that he was sacrificed to several different deities, and that's why they killed him 3 different ways. He was strangled, his throat was cut, and he was hit on the head. He did very little hard work because his fingernails were manicured.
Wow.
His facial hair, beard, and mustache had been trimmed with shears. His last meal was unleavened bread made from wheat and barley. And there's one called Vittrup Mand, which is, I think, just a skeleton when they found him. He was found in 1915 in northwest Denmark. He had a wooden club, a ceramic vessel, and a cow bones with him. He was between 30 and 40 years old when he died. He died between 3,300 BC and 3,100 BC. So he's over 5,000 years old. His remains included a piece of a smashed skull, and he had a different genetic structure than the people who lived in the region where he was found. That he was from 45 miles away across the open sea. Wow. Isotopes and proteins in his teeth show that his diet shifted during his later teen years from marine mammals and fish to farm animals like sheep and goats.
The
That
topic of
yeah.
ancient humans that have been preserved like this, and I'm not talking about Egyptian mummies because they go through a very rigorous process for
Mhm.
that, having organs removed and stuff. But the ones that were sacrificed or died naturally that have been found are some of the most interesting things to read about and to even think about, like how they lived and
Mhm.
stuff like that. So I think that's
Mhm.
something that we can tackle in the next episode.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, we will take the last few seconds that we have and we will say goodbye
Bye.
for this episode. And the next time that you see us, we will be talking more about ancient humans and their diets. We'll get into
Yeah,
that a little bit deeper.
yeah, and maybe throwing a little bit about their lifestyles too. We'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. See you later.
Okay. See you later.
Thanks for joining us this week on Sister Sharpens Sister. You can send us an email if you want to get involved to sharpsistertrio@gmail.com. And you can also contact us on Instagram at Sister Sharpens Sister. See you next time.